All right, Saxon Math Course 2, we're in Lesson 89. Today we are going to be dealing with diagonals, interior and exterior angles, as you see prescribed here. So let's begin by looking at what a diagonal is. Okay, this seems very elementary, but a diagonal is simply from corner to corner what that measurement is. Now, diagonals are pretty cool because it creates basically two triangles. Here's one and here's one. And something else that's interesting, that the interior angles of a triangle is 180 degrees per triangle. So 180 and 180 equals 360 degrees. All right, so each of these angles here are worth 90, which is 360. We can also call those right triangles, because if we actually have a 90-degree angle, usually we represent that with a little square down there to demonstrate that. Okay, so triangles, interior angles, 180, that's your diagonal line. By the way, this is how they measure televisions today. They measure diagonally. So if you have a 42-inch TV, diagonally it's 42 inches. This way it's not 42 inches. It's actually less than 42. 42, if it's the hypotenuse or this diagonal, is not the same as this direction. It's actually shorter than that. Okay, so we'll talk about that later as we discuss Pythagorean theorem and other fun things to come. All right, let's go to another screen here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up a shape. Let's go with a hexagon. All right, because I think that's the example that they give in your textbook. All right, so in this shape right here, okay, we can see that there are 6 sides. Okay, just labeling the 6 sides with a tick mark. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You'll notice that every single one of these has an angle. Okay, now we understand that inside a triangle, that equals 180 degrees. But what about something like this where the shape has 6 angles? All right, how do we figure this out? Well, I'm going to show you how to do this. All right, so what you're going to do is pick any corner. Okay, it doesn't matter what corner, and basically you're going to skip one apex here, and you're going to draw and create triangles. There's a triangle. Now you're going to draw to this one. There's a triangle. You're going to draw to this one. There's a triangle. You can't draw to this one because that's a straight line. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 triangles. Okay, so 4 times 180 gives us how many angles, or what the measurement is. Okay, so let's do that and try to come up with our number here. Okay, 8 times 4 is 32, carry the 3, and we have 720. So interior here equals 720 degrees. You're like, wait, what about 360? Okay, 360 degrees would be if you had 4 corners. But in this case, we don't have 4 corners. We have a lot of corners, and so the interior is way larger than that. It's 720. In fact, double the amount that's in a triangle, okay, or in a square rather, right, because of 6 sides. Okay, so one other concept that they teach you in this particular section is that for each of those angles, let me go back to this one. Okay, if we have 6 angles, and if it is 760 degrees, 720 degrees, we can do the division of 6 and 720, and we can come up with every single angle that is represented here. So there's one, there's one, there's one, there's one, there's one, and there's one. Well, what is that angle? Well, let's do our little math here, and let's come up with this actual number, okay? And you can see that we have every angle is 120 degrees. Well, 120 degrees times 6 is 720, so each of those is 120 degrees. All right, makes sense? Okay, let's go to another idea here. I'm going to go back to one of these polygons. Okay, I'll use a pentagon. Okay, for just a change of pace here. All right, now something that's very interesting is that if this line were to continue to go out, okay, you would see that each of these lines would also have an angle associated with it. Okay, so I'm going to try to do this and show this very quickly and easily. Now let me go back to my pen here and show you that in a pentagon we could do the same thing that we just did beforehand and come up with how many triangles we have. So let's do this. There's one, there's one. So we have 1, 2, 3 triangles, so 3 times 180. Let's find out how many we have. Okay, we have 540 degrees inside. Okay, a pentagon. This has 5 sides. Okay, now here's something that's interesting. If there are 5 sides and we have 540, let's do the division problem. 5 divided into 540, we have 1, 4, which is we can't put in, and then we have 8 for 108, and that satisfies our 140. All right, so 5 at 108. All right, so the interior angles in here are 108 degrees. All right, so my question isn't what is the interior angle. My question is what is this angle right here? If this is 108, what is that angle? Well, we know, okay, that on a straight angle, right, from here all the way to here is 180 degrees. Why? Because that's 90, halfway is 90, and then all the way to this side is also 90. 90 plus 90 is 180, okay? So if this angle right here is 180, we can say 180 minus 108 can give us our angle, okay? So let's borrow, right? And so if we have 72 degrees here and 108 here, does that equal 180? Let's try it. 108 plus 72, 0, carry the 1, 8, 1, look at that. So I know that every single one of these on the exterior angle is 72 degrees because every interior angle is 108. All right, so all we're dealing with is the exterior angle, the interior angle, and finding the opposite of that. Okay, let me give an example that might be a little bit different. So oops, got to make that a straight line. I want to make that a straight line. There we go. Okay, let's do this. Let's put this angle out here, and let's call this angle 45 degrees. And I say to you, what is that? What is angle A equal to? Okay, now you know something, at least I think you know something. You know that this whole thing right here is equal to 180 degrees. Okay, if that's true, then we also can take 180 degrees, subtract 45, and come up with 135 degrees. So angle A is equal to 135 and 35. It's the opposite. All we need to know is one piece of information and we can get this whole angle. All right, so those are the types of questions that you're going to be given and asked about, okay, through this whole thing. This is probably the most complicated part of it, but I think you guys understand it all the way back to the very beginning where we talk about the diagonal and interior angles as opposed to exterior angles. And you realize that each of these also has an exterior angle. And what is it? They're all 90 degrees. Why? Because we see the interiors as 90 degrees as well. Okay? So that's your lesson. Hopefully you do well in it. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I will be more than happy to help you.